Ladies and gentlemen, this is the House of Grim podcast. I am Dan Bob. We got Grim with us, and we also got Zach Werre.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man.
My pleasure.
Let
Well,
me.
Zach, go ahead, Grim.
Oh no, you go ahead first.
Zach, what caught my attention with you was the post that you put out about being at the time one of the owners of Below Zero Wrestling.
Yeah.
Um, I started looking into this promotion shortly after I seen your post. It's a pretty cool wrestling, man. Like what you guys been putting on out there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no. We started Below Zero Wrestling up in Fargo, North Dakota. Had our first show May 2021. So the company's been going on for a little over 4 years now. And I had my last show Saturday, August 16th, 2025, just about 2 weeks ago at this point. And so just got busy with stuff on my plate with some other projects that I'm involved with where so had to unfortunately kind of figure out where I needed to be. But the good news is Below Zero Wrestling is continuing. My business partner Nick Stokey is continuing to run Below Zero Wrestling. I know he's doing an excellent job, and I was going to continue to do an excellent job with it.
Yeah, one thing that I liked about that promotion is how it looks. The ring
Thank you,
looks like $1 million, man. Like the whole production just looks amazing. So
thank you.
that's one thing that really liked about it.
Absolutely, and that's something we definitely put a lot of emphasis in. Just the presentation. Obviously, the wrestling is what it is at the core, but just try to make it as the best presentation we can with lighting, stages, all that. Whenever we can, and even like one of the first examples of that was our logo. For instance, we put some time and money into making sure we had a really solid logo, just because we wanted the whole presentation of Below Zero Wrestling to be top quality. And so
Yeah, I
glad to
was just
hear
talking
that.
to I was just talking
Yeah.
to Grim about your logo. Your logo is awesome,
Awesome,
man.
Oh
thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, no, that was one we were spent time on it just because hey, we got one logo, let's make sure that it looks really good and hopefully gives off a good first impression.
Um, Let me ask you this: did you like find it hard booking a family friendly product, or did it come easy?
No, definitely very easy because that's just like the kind of product I would want to put out there.
Hmm.
Something that's something that moms and dads could take their kids to, something that grandpa and grandpa could take their grandkids to. And then but also too, just make it something where I heard this from someone else, but a lot of times we hear family friendly and we think, okay, so it's boring, So
Right. Right.
a lot of like I'd say like a lot of the like effort we put into making sure like, hey, we want to make it clean, family friendly. A 6-year-old can come, a 66-year-old can come, but we want everyone to have fun. And I like to more or less I like to think we're able to accomplish that. But that was really one of the goals with it was want clean, family friendly, but also fun where anyone can join. And we have people we have guys in their 20s and 30s who come out with their guy friends and hang out. And so we get just a mixture of all sorts of different types of people, the families, the kids, grown-ups, bit of everyone.
Yeah, I like a family friendly product. We
Yeah.
our local promotion here is Pure Pro Wrestling, and they're
Awesome.
they're they're family friendly, And it's like we've talked about it before on the podcast. You can bring your family and not be worried about I mean, some of these wrestling like promotions, they're like death match and all that. You ain't really taking the kids to go see that.
Yeah.
But, but
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
family
So
friendly product, you can take the kids to enjoy it.
Or if you got a
yeah.
girlfriend, you want to take her out, you can take
Yeah,
her to the
right.
show, and yeah,
Yes.
whatever the occasion is, you can take them. So,
Exactly. No, exactly. That's a perfect way of putting it.
So
so I see you got some nice accolades right there behind
yeah,
you. You got
Oh,
some
thank you.
YouTube plaques.
Yes, that's my day job. Is YouTube running the two main channels I do are both professional wrestling related. The one I do
Okay,
just by myself is Tap Out Corner, which about a month ago I think was we got that plaque, the 1 million subscribers. So that
oh
was
man,
awesome.
yeah,
awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it. And then the other one I run is with Maven Huffman, the former WWE wrestler, and so
Awesome.
Dee and I get together, we shoot videos and have a great time. I'm not on camera for that one, for the Maven Huffman channel. That's just Maven, but
Well,
I
I'm
do
definitely a
a lot of
fan of
behind the
that
scenes.
channel.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
awesome! Thank you,
dude.
Definitely a
appreciate that.
fan.
Yeah, that's been a blast working with Maven and just figuring out different things to talk about with wrestling, figure out just different videos we could do. It's been an absolute joyride.
Yeah, you
You
guys
guys
are
putting
putting
out
on some
some
good content, man.
yeah,
Some
Thank
amazing
you.
entertaining
stuff.
stuff, man. Because I've been tuning into Maven's channel for like just about the whole time it's been out. And
Hmm.
That's awesome.
enjoyed it a
Thank you. I
lot.
appreciate the
Yeah.
support. Yeah. Oh, it's been exciting seeing it. We met up in May of 2023 was when we got together and filmed our first videos, and then we published the first one July 21st, 2023. So just a little over 2 years of running that channel, and it's been great. Maven's been a great friend, a great business partner, and we both just he obviously brings the personality, the presence, and obviously the wrestling experience.
Right.
So that's great. And then I can bring other aspects to it. So it's just a really great team that we have together, I believe.
Awesome. So it's like video production, like a passion of yours.
Absolutely. Like I'd say around kind of middle school and into high school, that's when I really found that I really liked creating videos, and then kind of from there it kind of developed into more just like content creation. I love figuring out, what sort of stuff do people want to see, what kind of stories do they want to hear told, and figuring out what's the best way to tell that story, what makes it most, engaging and the most exciting, and that's still something I'm learning, but it's something I just enjoy doing, and so yeah, so then obviously YouTube was the go-to platform for getting your stuff out video wise.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think I published my first YouTube video. I think it was like 2009 is when I
Oh
uploaded
nice.
my very first video, and then just ever since then it's been lots of different channels, different types of videos. But wrestling has really been what I've found the most success with thus far. Yeah,
Um.
Yeah, man, I didn't know that you were actually a part of Maven's channel at all.
yeah,
When I
yeah.
reached out to you, it was shortly before you joined us. He actually brought it to my attention. I was like,
Oh,
no
awesome!
kidding. I was like, oh my God. So I really do appreciate you coming on our channel, man.
Absolutely, Bill.
Just
Appreciate you
taking the
having me
time
on.
out, just taking the time out of your day, man, and just shows you're a humbling person, bro. So I really
Um,
appreciate that.
Thank you. No, no. Usually it's Maven getting asked to do interviews. So
Right.
whenever I get an opportunity, yes, I can talk. But no, it's
Right.
good. It's great. It's great. Thank you for having me.
Oh
Oh yeah.
yeah. So when it comes time to like being a booker for a wrestling company, do you ever get like people trying to be your buddy and you feel like they're trying to be your buddy, like they're only trying to be my friend because like I can book them in that spot? Is it ever anything ever like that?
Not, I would say that specific scenario, but there is, like obviously everyone has their ideas, which is great, and that's a big part of the success is always the collaboration, and because you might have one idea, but someone else has another idea, so that's always great. The Obviously there's sometimes where those ideas can clash a little bit, even on the independent level. So that's one thing, and that's just at the end of the day, and wrestlers, a lot of them know understand that hey, like this is your promotion, this is your show, you're paying for the ring, the venue, So we would always tell guys, we always told them the same thing. We always happy for ideas, and so guys would share, hey, what we were thinking about this, and sometimes we say, yeah, that sounds great, let's do that tonight. Other times they say, hey, I'm thinking this, and say, well, here's what we have planned, yeah, that's a great idea, but this show we want to do this because at the next show we want to do this, and then at the third show we want to do this, and then okay, that makes sense why we're doing it
Right.
like this tonight.
Gotcha.
So yeah, but all a bunch about collaboration and communicating, and again, just welcoming ideas is great because there's stuff that like myself and my business partner Nick like never would have thought of, but then someone brought it up and just like, shoot, why didn't we think of that? That's great.
So did you guys also have like a wrestling school with your guys' company?
No, just we did a few. The closest thing we did was we do some seminars sometimes. Like we brought in like a name, a former WWE wrestler or something like
Okay.
that. We would do some seminars, but we never. It was something we always kind of talked about and would like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do a wrestling school? Just because there's people in the area who wanted it. We'd get email or messages sometimes from
Right.
folks, like, oh, do you guys do wrestling train? We always had to say no. Unfortunately, we don't. So, but it's always a possibility, and I know Nick is still that's something that he was always wanted to do, but it's always a case of just finding the right teacher is obviously the core of it. Find someone who is not just accomplished and knows what they're doing, but also can teach it
Right.
to other wrestlers, aspiring wrestlers. And then obviously it's just running a small business, getting the place that you're gonna this actual school itself, the physical location, making sure you have a ring, making sure you have everything. So, but
Right. A
yeah,
lot
unfortunately, we
goes
never got
into
to
it.
that. But it was something we always would occasionally talk about, like, hey, maybe we could do a school with this person or something. But just never
That'd be cool.
materialized, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
Well, maybe somewhere down the road.
Exactly, exactly. I think Fargo would be a great place for a wrestling school because I know there's a nice crop of guys and gals who are hungry who would love to step inside the ropes.
Right.
Um, did you well like when you were booking and run like putting on shows? What would you say is the hardest challenge of getting people to come?
Hmm. I'd say part sometimes it's just location because like for us, I'd say with our shows it was probably about like 85% of the roster for a single show would come from out of state. They'd be coming from all our shows were pretty much run in North Dakota, and we had a handful of guys around the state. I would say maybe between 4 and 8 wrestlers, roughly off the top of my head, that we had who were in the state. But even then, they might be, North Dakota is a decently sized place, so they might, hey, we're in Fargo, we're over in Minot. That might take 2 hours or so just to drive there.
Right,
And majority of our talent was coming from Minnesota, from South Dakota, from Nebraska, some cases from Wisconsin. So then there, some of those guys were looking at like 6 to 8 hours, just one way to get to the show, and they had to drive back home. So that was always tricky, just because obviously a lot of wrestlers are willing to travel, but then obviously they need gas provided. They might need a
right,
hotel, and that and you're working with very thin margins with independent wrestling, and it kind of varies. You might get 100 people, you might get 200 people, you might get 300 people. So that always made it tricky. Where hey, do you spend $300 to bring one person in? That's
right,
because that adds up really, really fast. So I would say that was probably the biggest challenge, was just the location wise and the commitment that people had to have in order to get there. And obviously, just when you're, I think at the beginning when you're new, because there's always new promotions, new companies starting up, and then there's always a bit of and I 100% understand it from the wrestling perspective. You're just not quite sure, are they legit? Am I going to get paid? Because that's a story a lot of independent wrestlers have. They went to a show and the guy said, "Oh, sorry, we didn't. The house wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. I can't pay you, or whatnot." So, and when you don't know someone, you're not sure. Like, hey, if I go there, am I going to have gas money to get back home? Am I going to get paid? And is it just
right,
is a reputable, is a good company to work with? So we were starting out. Obviously, you have just no established reputation, but after a handful of shows, then guys are hey, yeah, this is a solid promotion, this is a solid company to work for, and then it just spreads. It's a small kind of tight knit community, the independent wrestling scene is. So once you do a few solid
mm,
shows, make sure that all the guys are happy with it, then word spreads, and then the reverse can be the same as though if you do a show and it's
right,
not good, it's not well run, guys don't get paid, that spreads as well. So that's one thing we always just try to really make sure, especially at the beginning, but always making sure we're treating our talent well, because obviously they're spending their whole day with us up in Fargo or wherever we're at, and then they're putting their lives on the line. Wrestling's
right.
not it's not, not the safest sport out there,
Right.
and so we'd always make sure, like we had catering, for instance, at our shows. We always have catering for the talent, and just making sure the guys had what they needed, water, whatever it was, making sure we had clear communication. We'd always have a run sheet, going through, hey, here's who you're wrestling, here's one of your matches, here's who's coming out first, here's what we're looking for. And I think that helped out a lot, because that's, another,
Oh,
can be another issue, is just the chaoticness of independent wrestling, where people are like, I don't know who I'm wrestling, and it's 30 minutes before the show starts. Am I in the first match? Am I in the last match? So we always just tried to make sure it was just as well run as we possibly could.
When you were first starting out, promoting this company, was there any like rough patches in the road in the beginning that you would maybe have done differently? Now that you learned from that.
Yeah, definitely. I would say a lot with like how pitching professional wrestling, in a sense, for lack of a better term, because initially I'm thinking like, okay, what's gonna, how are we gonna get the most people to our shows? I'm thinking, okay, we gotta do storylines. Like that's what WWE does. They have lots of storylines and characters, and that's all very important. I'm not trying to diminish it, but as I go along, I kind of realized a lot of the stuff that the stuff that you're not thinking about is a little bit more important than the stuff you are thinking about. So like having good matches, booking the right wrestlers, very, very important. But the stuff you're not thinking about, like, hey, is the bathroom clean? Does the bathroom have toilet paper?
Right.
Is there concessions? People, when people come to the shows, like, they they want to go to a clean bathroom. They don't want to be going to a show where the bathroom, yeah, they ran out of toilet paper, so I had to kind of, figure out for
Right.
myself, and then and concessions are just an important part. You go to an event, you want good food, that makes the experience better for the fans. So, but it's when you're it's starting out, I was thinking a lot more just about the wrestling,
Mm.
which again, super important, but there's a lot with independent wrestling. The success of a independent wrestling show is really based on everything else, making sure is the venue in a good location? Like, is it accessible for people? Is there parking? Is, clear like where the people need to go if the venue's not obvious where they need to go for tickets, and then just figuring out other stuff too, like making sure, hey, before the show, we got, people are sitting in there waiting for the show. Like, hey, let's get the ring announcer out there and just, have some fun with the crowd, make it fun, make it exciting for these people. They're rather than just having them sit on their hands for half an hour. Let's play some games with people. Who drew the
Right.
furthest? Let's hype up the crowd. And then just all that sort of stuff. Or so definitely like I know just pitching at the beginning. There was just things I thought were like this is the most important thing. We got to put all our eggs in this basket. This will pay off. In hindsight, I'm like, let's put maybe one egg in there and let's put other eggs in these baskets too because these are getting neglected and these are really really important to the success of our company.
Uh, Now, did you ever have any aspirations of like getting into the ring?
No. I there's always like I think for just about every fan there's always a little bit
Hmm.
of like what if I was a wrestler, what would my name be, what would I do, what would my character be,
No,
but it was
I hear
actually
you
with
there.
yeah. Have you
Dan,
guys ever
Dan Bob
so
keeps trying to talk me into trying it out, but I'm like, dude, I'm too old. Too
yeah.
old for it now.
So
Yeah.
I to celebrate when we first got our first 100 subscribers, I wanted to
That's awesome.
get 10 chops. So I got
Oh.
into a wrestling ring over at Pure Pro Wrestling, and I got what maybe 3 chops,
No,
and
no,
bro,
it's not maybe 3 chops. It was just three. The last one, Mountain Man got him. He said, "I'm done." So,
yeah,
so I had to show him up. I took 8,
There you go.
but I left the shirt on though. The shirt had to stay on.
Yeah. You gotta
yeah.
be
So
reasonable.
I didn't want to, I want to be able to post it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, man, it hurt. So I was like, so I was going to work, bro, telling everybody, I was like, man, wrestling ain't fake. Look at this. Do you see this handprint? It
Yes.
is still there. Do you see the bruise? Yes, this hurts.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, especially doing the Maven channel actually was one of the things that really opened my eyes. Like, obviously, I knew, yeah, like wrestling hurts, you get beat up, but like for instance with Maven, he was in WWE for a little under 4 years, and he did some independent stuff too. So, but his career was relatively short. He did, he wasn't doing super crazy, jumping off 20-foot ladders, that sort of stuff.
Right.
So I would have thought like my thought was like, okay, he's probably a little banged up, but he probably still feels pretty good because he just wasn't there as long. But then Maven tells me like every day, he says every day I wake up and I feel like I've been in a car wreck, and so I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
okay, so if that's how you feel, like how does someone like a Mick Foley who's
Oh man.
wrestled for decades, done crazy stunts, a Jeff Hardy, a Matt Hardy, like so hearing about him and he gets headaches very regularly, Maven does, so hearing all that really like it went from like I'm not going to be a wrestler to I'm really not going to be a wrestler.
Right, right. I hear you
Uh,
there, bro. For sure. Yeah, man. Maven's awesome, dude.
Thank you.
The way, excuse me, the way your guys' chemistry, man. You with the camera, him in front of the camera, man. It's just you guys are awesome. You guys are actually setting the tone for other YouTube channels, other wrestling channels, and that's amazing, man.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. And I mentioned it before, but yeah, I think it's just one of those. I don't want to make it sound too dramatic or anything or too egotistical, but it felt like almost lightning struck. Just in the
Oh yeah,
sense of like we both are like the things that I'm not good at, and Maven's great at. Things that Maven's not so good at, I'm really I'm a bit better at. So I think it's just a really good partnership in that sense. We just both bring something really unique to the table. And again,
right,
without Maven, there is no channel, obviously, but
right.
right.
so yeah,
And also, you guys are also not just shining a light on one wrestling product. You guys are also going to AEW,
yes,
and other places, which is amazing. And man, Maven shows nothing but respect to everybody, man.
yeah.
That's awesome. You don't meet people like that.
Yeah.
you're one of a kind person when you meet people like that, you know.
Yeah. No, he's always very good with any whenever we're out, if there's someone who oh hey Maven, a fan or someone, but and then with all the guests too, and it helps out a lot too, just that he's one of the boys, and
Hmm.
having that connection because that's certainly I know that's
Right.
definitely like helped us get some interviews that we
Hmm.
or do some collaborations with people that wouldn't probably happen otherwise, like if it was me reaching out, because and I
Right.
get it, it's just it's different when you're one of the boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I hear you there.
Uh,
Oh, can I ask, what was one of the hardest videos to make for this channel?
ooh, that's a good question.
Hmm.
Some of those, I don't know if you've seen them, but we did some videos that Brian Myers, his wrestling school in Hicksville, New York, Create a Pro. We've
Mm.
done some videos where it's like, how does Seth Rollins do the curb stomp? How does Finn Balor do the coup de grace? And those are tricky just because normally it's just like Maven, myself, and maybe a guest. So it's a pretty, or sometimes just Maven and myself too. So like, pretty much all the time it was a pretty small crew that we're working with. It's so it's very straightforward. We're not the cameras don't really need to be moving. It's everything's just isolated. They're sitting down talking. So, but those videos where we're trying to show how different moves are performed, there's multiple cameramen. I'm
Mm.
trying to film, also kind of trying to direct and trying to figure out what we need. And then you're working with multiple wrestlers. It's just, I know it's a relatively small crew in the grand scheme of like, just filming and stuff, but for us, it's different. So it's just, trying to manage all those, just making sure everyone's managing what's going on, making sure everyone knows what we need to do. So it always feels a little. They've always come out well in the end.
Mm.
So at the end, it always is come out good. But in the moment, it's always like I'm always in the back of my head thinking like, I hope we got that because I'm like, we work with some really good people, but it's just I don't see the shots that they're getting. So, and I'm not sure like, did I communicate that right? Did I tell them? Do they know what I'm looking for? So that's always those I say are some of the most challenging ones. Some of
Gotcha.
them, I guess, another one, kind of more fun answer was if you guys seen the Buff Bagwell video we did
Yeah.
back in July. That one was, I guess, challenging in a different sense. One, it was just a very fast turnaround. We filmed it technically started filming it on a Wednesday night, and then we were filming pretty much all day Thursday, and it had to be out 8 days from there that following Friday. And if you saw the video, the hospital wasn't really big on us filming in there, so that made it
Yeah.
a little had to kind of change plans on the fly. And then, but also just the turnaround. Like I think I went to bed at about 5 a.m. and the video came out at 10 a.m. So like
Oh
about,
man.
and I also had to get up before the video went live because I was like, I'm gonna watch it just once more just to make sure,
Right.
everything's good. So, and literally, I was going to bed and the sun was starting to rise because that's how late we were staying up to make sure the video was ready to go Friday morning. So that was
Oh,
another one that was just a bit more
well,
challenging, but it was really rewarding. And I'm so thankful for Buff Bagwell for giving us access and trusting us to tell that story. It was phenomenal experience. I'm so thankful he had reached out to us.
well, as a fan of your guys' channel, man, I definitely appreciate all the hard work and time and love and effort you guys are putting into this product, this channel, man. It's amazing. Um, yeah, it's great.
So I appreciate that. And thank you guys for watching. Cause that
I have to,
that gives me a job. So thank you.
I have to say one of my favorite was the Perry Saturn one.
Yes, the
Oh,
one where
dude.
they Maven and him are kind of amending
Yeah.
anything.
Dude, that
Yeah.
was awesome to see.
Yeah,
And,
and it's just
yeah.
that's one thing Maven
Pe-
tells me about that is like because and he talked about it in the video, but when he got signed to WWE in 2001, a lot of guys were hot on him just because of the way that he got into the business, and but Perry Saturn in particular was one that was like really like not into it, didn't like the way that he got into the business. And, part of the tradition at that time was, you always shake everyone's hand every day. And he said the only reason Perry shook my hand was because he had to. Otherwise, he wasn't shaking it. So, but then, and then that was a great, great opportunity. And it was great too, because I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And Maven, texts me and says, hey, Perry Saturn might, be willing to do a video, and he lives in Minnesota. I'm like, great. Like I live maybe 5 miles from the Minnesota border. Where's he at? Minneapolis. That's only maybe a 3 or 4 hour drive. And he was in a town called Albert Lee, and so it was just perfect opportunity to drive there, film with Perry, and yeah, like you said, Graham. great. I thought it just turned out great.
Oh yeah.
We technically filmed two videos with Perry, and I thought both of them turned out phenomenal. And I think the video we actually set out to film with them, I don't know how many people saw it because it didn't do nearly as well. Was you remember the incident that Perry Saturn had with Mike Bell, where
You dunked him
Perry was
out
in
of the
the
ring or whatever.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it kind of turned into a bit of a real fight. And so we came. I was like, hey, why don't we have Perry break that down? It's kind of an infamous match. Get his breakdown, what was going on, what was going through his head. And that was the video we set out to film. And I was just like, Perry, Maven, you and Perry have this history together. I know you guys are just gonna be, hopefully it's gonna go well. I think, I was assuming it would probably, time heals all wounds, as they say. So I think it was gonna be nothing but love. So I'm like, why don't you guys are just gonna talk anyways? Why don't we just record it? If for whatever reason, if Perry maybe isn't, on board with it or whatever, we don't have to use it. But let's just get it. I think it's gonna be a cool, genuine moment. I think it'd be cool to show people this moment of seeing, something that they didn't even really have a relationship, but seeing how what time can do to two people. I just thought that'd be great. And that video, the one that we just kind of in a sense threw together that we weren't planning on doing at all, that became the one that more people watched in the video. We actually went there to go film with them, so
Uh,
it's just funny the way things work out
do they
sometimes.
still stay in contact?
Yeah, yeah, and actually, that's one thing that Maven just says. So like so much has changed with his life with the channel, and just things that like you don't you don't think about, and initially you think that you think of other things initially, but one of the things like again because of the channel, he and Perry are friends now, and they text regularly, and he says yeah, like that's something prior to the channel he never thought would happen, because again it was
Right.
just they weren't buddies by any means.
This channel like rejuvenated his wrestling career without without him getting into the ring to hurt himself as much.
Yeah. And
So
he'll be that's what he'll probably maybe will probably be most happy about is hey I can still be involved, but I don't have to be taking bumps or
right,
Right.
anything.
right.
Uh,
Which actually I don't know when this interview will be going out, but there's a video coming up where Maven does get back in the ring and does take a few bumps and
Oh,
take some moves. So slowly reeling him back into the ring. So we'll
okay.
see if we can get him
He's getting
into
that
a
itch,
match.
huh? He's getting that itch
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I think it's also just I was like I remember I was like there's no way he's gonna want to do this, but it was like a video like I took the most iconic WWE finishing moves. I'm like there's no way he just doesn't he doesn't want to take bumps, which I 100% get with his health and everything, and but I was just like I just said just said it kind of not really even thinking much about it, like wouldn't a great video be like I took the most iconic WWE finisher. I think that'd be a great title, a great thumbnail for this video, and then he's like, you're right. You know what? I think we can do it, but and obviously we did it with precautions and everything
Right.
on people who maybe was comfortable with performing the moves and everything. So, but yeah, that should be coming up in about the next like about 2.5 weeks. It should be coming out, so be on the
Okay.
lookout.
oh yeah, it definitely will be. Um, how does it feel that Maven's channel that you run uh helped inspire the Undertaker to start his own podcast?
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy because I remember. So if I'm remembering the timeline correctly, we started in July 2023, and I think it was like around end of September. I think it was about 2 months after we had started our channel. Then we see Undertaker starting a podcast, and first we're thinking like, what? Why is he starting a podcast? Like yeah, he's got the stories, but like he's made probably more money in wrestling than
Right.
anybody. Like what? What?
The
Right.
the biggest kayfabe guy there is, and now he
Yeah. And
what?
that's the other thing, and it's called, it's not even 6 feet under with Undertaker, it's 6 feet under with Mark Calloway. He's just pulling back the curtain all the way, and so and then obviously the ego, sets in. I wonder if it was our videos, but I'm like, no way, it's just this is just what everyone's doing, and finally it caught up with the Undertaker. But then we went out. It was about when was that? I think it was like May or June of 2024 was when uh, Undertaker's co-host with 6 Feet Under, reached out to Maven and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you on the show." And then that's they shared it there, and then we did a video with Matt not too long ago actually, and he rated the same thing like, "Hey, you're." They had the idea for doing like a Undertaker podcast YouTube channel about a
Hmm.
year before we started the Maven Huffman channel, but Matt did say that but we were kind of the ones that made them say, okay, let's give this a shot because initially Undertaker was, wasn't sure about it and it just never
Yeah.
happened. But then from the horse's mouth, they said that yeah, once they saw the Maven Huffman channel, that was kind of like, okay, let's give this a shot. Let's give this a shot. And I'm glad they did because again, Undertaker has so many
Yeah.
stories and so much expertise and insight to share. So I'm glad that he got it out there.
Good, good, good podcast for. I just
Absolutely.
thought it was awesome to hear that when I saw
Yeah,
that. I was like, ah,
it was. It was.
look,
It
look at
really.
Undertaker giving old Maven the props.
Yes, give him the rub. That's awesome.
uh, it's been a blast talking to you, man. Normally we go about 20 minutes, so
Gotcha.
on
Awesome.
30. Oh
There we go.
man, if you ever want to come on again, feel free to hit us up, man. Like
Absolutely.
this has been a blast. So
Yeah,
I would love to pick your brain about editing
Oh yeah.
videos and stuff because I do all of our editing, and
gotcha.
I'm trying to get him to like I want to do more like skits and stuff like that and filming
Yeah.
because that's one thing I want to get into is more the video production side.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, always happy to talk and appreciate you guys having me on. It's I always
Dude,
just
you're
love talking about YouTube.
one of the biggest people we've had on our platform so
Mm.
far, brother.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. This has been awesome. Thank you guys for having me on, and this has been a great conversation. So I love it. We got to talk a little about everything. Below zero wrestling promoting, and YouTube and the Maven channel. So this is my favorite things to talk about.
And what was the name of your channel one more time?
The
Your
one that I run just by myself is called Tap Out Corner. So
Tap Out Corner. Gotcha.
wrestling list top 10. So if you head over there, this is the voice you'll hear.
All right.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah,
I'll post the link for it in the video description when I drop this.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys so much, Jan Bob,
Oh
Grim.
yeah,
Thank you
for
guys
sure,
for having
man.
me on.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
thanks
coming.
for taking the time to come on, man. I mean, just man, your accolades and you taking the time to come on our show, brother. We really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As always, you'll be entertained. Yeah.